Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages. The Express leads on the ongoing chaos in British airports as officials warn the delays will get worse in the summer.
The Guardian covers the changing of the ministerial code, accusing the Prime Minister of trying to save his own skin.
The Times leads on the Attorney General's call for a firm line on transgender ideology in schools.
And the Daily Mail, as we've been reporting all morning, covers the Queen's plans to meet her great-granddaughter, Lilibet, on a special Windsor visit.
The Telegraph covers the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, reporting on a British MP's son fighting on the front lines.
And the Mirror leads on the Queen's Platinum Jubilee as the country gets ready to celebrate next week.
And the Star also leads on the half-term holiday chaos. And relax, it says.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very relaxing.
No.
Time to go through the papers now. And joining us this morning, broadcaster Pete Price and former Conservative advisor Claire Pearsall. And a very good morning to both of you.
Yes, good
Claire,
morning.
let's kick off with this, the Guardian lead, saying that the Prime Minister is changing the ministerial code of conduct to save his skin.
Yes, now this is going to anger a lot of people, but I think you need to understand that this is a code which is reviewed from time to time. The Prime Minister has been accused of watering it down, and to some extent he has. It comes on the back of him being investigated personally for breaches of the ministerial code, so the timing of it, I think, is pretty suspect. You know, if this is a man who's broken the ministerial code, why not change it? So that perhaps all you have to do is apologise and maybe lose some of your pay.
I mean, the basic is that if you for instance, mislead the House of Commons or form some other breach of the ministerial code, you should resign. That's always been understood.
That's right, and that remains in place.
It's still
misleading the House will remain in place. So that hasn't been taken out, as much as the Guardian would like you to believe. So that is always still there. I think people are concerned with the watering down of the ethics Lord Guide, the ethics master. He won't have the kind of remit that he had previously. So the Prime Minister, whoever it may be, will always have the opportunity to mark their own homework. And I think that's what upsets people the most. But this is the problem with the House of Commons, with Parliament, is this is the system that we have. So unless you're going to look at the system as a whole, taking just one piece of it isn't going to make any difference.
Pete, what do you think of the Guardian's take on
It's interesting what you say. And by the way, before I say anything, what a bevy of beauty. Morning. I am so flat. What a waste of being a gay man.
I don't think we're allowed to point that sort of thing out.
I'm
beautiful that we are.
Woke up. No, I think this is a bigger story, Claire, isn't it? It's out of his hands, isn't it? It's above him. This that's being put in place. I thought it wasn't his decision.
No, and I think this is where the problem always lies. Because of the way Parliament is set up, the ultimate arbiter of breaches of the ministerial code is the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So if you are looking into the Prime Minister, you don't really have anywhere to go, which is how the sort of ethics advisor, Lord Guide, came about. You know, he's there on the sidelines, but he still has to go to the Prime Minister to say, this is the decision I've made, do you agree? So it's a really complicated system, and it's just something that we have had in Parliament as part of our democracy for hundreds of years. It's not new, people shouldn't get too excited about it, but I think at the moment everything is coming to a head, everybody is fevered over it, so they're going to pick over any kind of wording and assume the worst. So it's one of those kind of...
Do you think we should be closing the door or the lid on the box of Partygate and all of this sort of thing? Because we have so many things to really worry about now with the cost of living crisis.
It's interesting you say that. I feel that it's opened a can of worms, and it's shown... I think now it's like Italian politicians, because most of them were having affairs. I mean, they were famous for... But it's getting that way in England now, where the public don't trust politicians, and that's the sad thing, that someone's got to run this country, whatever the party is, but they will not trust politicians. So it is a minefield.
And that can't be undone now.
No, it can't be undone. And because of social media, it will get even worse.
Well, tell us about something else that's getting even worse. Every weekend we report on the chaos that our travel industry is. I mean, and it's happening again with half term.
And it seems to be shortage of staff. There is 100,000 jobs estimated that need filling at the airports alone around this country. And what bothers me is we've got these cost of living problems and everything else. There are all these jobs. Why aren't people working? That's the first thing. It's really important. And I've been going through Liverpool Airport. They're brilliant. It's a smaller airport. They're really brilliant. They've got a great set of staff. Manchester has been a problem. Heathrow's been a problem. But you see, if you listen to GBNEWS, the other week we were talking about, we said on this programme, get your holiday booked now.
Yep.
Get it sorted. We told you if you don't listen, it doesn't happen, you see.
But you've got to keep on top of it now. You can't just assume that your travel is going to
go. And you can't get deals and wait for the last minute.
No.
But I don't understand all these staff in everywhere, in restaurants and everywhere. Why aren't people working? That's going to help with the cost of living.
And this is the issue as well. So many of our airports are working at capacity. So if there's one bit missing from the chain, there's absolute chaos. I flew to Austria with my mum a few months ago, and there weren't enough baggage handlers. So they couldn't physically get our suitcases, and we waited hours on the tarmac.
Yeah, my son was waiting hours on the tarmac just the other day because there was no ground staff to bring the staircase to the plane. And the pilot, apparently, the captain said, we are trying to contact ground staff. We actually can't get them to answer their phones at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And my son said, and he took a picture. The staircase was right there. It was about 4 foot away from the plane. And he said you could almost reach out and pull it up. But it
want to do it yourself,
about 3/4 of an hour for that staircase to get to the plane.
It is. It's absolute chaos. 10,000 staff are missing from Heathrow alone.
Wow.
It's time to put people back to work. Pandemic has caused a major problem with people having time off. A major problem.
We need people back in those jobs, and also it's the IT systems that are letting us down as well. It's those e-gates at the airports that are often going down.
Because Brexit, we haven't got those staff now. We've lost all those people, especially in the catering industry.
My sister's got one of those passports that just won't be read by them. But wherever we've been on so many journeys just recently, and she is always the one who gets left out. We're trying to put the passport in. There must be some glitch on your little barcode or something.
Interesting you say that. A friend of mine had a slight tear on one page. They were refused entry. Entry. A slight tear.
I think normally they're quite reasonable about things like that. I mean, I'm always that person that sets off every security scanner you go through. So I'm the person who's always taken off to one side and, given a frisk down because I think I'm probably looking a little suspicious.
No, they gave a frisk down because you're a twat.
And they get one of those little swabs and they swab you. What on earth do you think I've done?
You always get really paranoid, don't you? Thinking, oh God.
I would love, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to know why they make me take my watch off.
Yeah.
None of my
Lovely
jewelry,
watch,
but my watch, I've got one of the
None of your jewelry?
But, no, they've left it. And I say, these don't come off. And they go,
take it off.
So I do that one with my hands up.
Yeah.
Looking very camp.
Well, as a woman, it's always a little bit embarrassing, isn't it? You have to take off all your jewellery, your watches, your bags, your mirrors. It's a lot. Claire, I wanted to touch on a story in the Times, Gender Wars story. Teachers should not pander to trans pupils. Tell us a bit more about this one.
Now, this is the Attorney General, Suella Braverman, who has come out with a really robust line, and probably more robust than I've seen anybody, over trans individuals in schools. And she is now suggesting that we don't need to pander to somebody who wishes to change their pronouns, change their names. If they are male and they want to identify as female, they are children and should be treated as the gender from birth. It is really refreshing to have somebody come out, because this is always an incredibly emotive argument to have. But to be this robust, I salute her, I really, really do. She looks at it as a safeguarding issue. These are individuals who are under 18.
Yeah, she says, so you can't be trans if you're under 18.
Absolutely, you should be treated as the gender you were born. And she will anger a lot of the lobby, and I think this is half of the problem, is that you lose that ability to debate it because neither side will move on their opinion on this debate. and you will get a lot of abuse if you go against some part of it. So I think she's actually been superbly brave. She has stood up for J.K. Rowling and has said that she is an absolute hero to her. So I think this is incredibly important, and keeping those protected spaces, for example, ladies-only changing rooms and girls' toilets, things like that. She's saying, absolutely, this is not against the law. You should have those spaces. Let's all come together and just accept that this is what schools will be doing. And I think this is really crucial.
She has been very brave, because she'll get a lot of hate mail over that, won't she?
She will absolutely.
Very briefly, Pete, just before we move on, Harry and Meghan, because we're talking about this a lot during the programme today. The Queen's Jubilee olive branch to Harry and Meghan.
Well, very briefly and quickly, if you're listening, Meghan, take the olive branch, keep your mouth shut, enjoy it. Let's have Harry back, please.
On that note, we'll see you in the next hour. Pete, thank you very much.